Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, wahda, wassalatu wassalamu ala man la nabiyya ba'da. أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل إن كنتم تحبون الله فاتبعوني يحببكم الله ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم وقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى أكون أحب إليه من والده وولده والناس أجمعين أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك من زانت به العصور. First of all, we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us another opportunity to sit down and remember Him. And we know when people sit down and they gather to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, those gatherings are such that the angels, the malaika surround them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends down tranquility, right? Contentment of the heart, peace of mind. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions about those people in the gathering that is better than the gathering of this world, that is the gathering of the angels. Like Allah said in another place, to near effect, if you remember me in your heart, I will remember you in my heart. If you remember me openly in a gathering, I will also remember you openly in the gathering. And Allah said in the Quran, فَاذْكُرُونِي أَذْكُرُكُمْ, that you remember me, I will remember you. So it's an honor for us that when we sit down to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this means Allah will remember us. And ulama have told us it is a sign, a glad tiding. Whenever we are given the tawfiq, the guidance to sit down and do anything good and remember Allah, this means Allah wants to remember us, because it is a rule. You remember me, I will remember you. So us remembering Allah in reality is a tawfiq from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and a sign that Allah wants to remember us. Similarly, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made a rule, لَإِن شَكَرْتُمْ لَزِيدَنَّكُمْ, if you are grateful, I will increase in my blessing. Doesn't matter what religion you're from, this is a rule for everyone. As long as we are thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah will keep giving us. That's why it is very important that we make this a habit all the time. And we see these du'as also, right? The du'as that we read in the morning and evening, we'll see they're full with Alhamdulillah, praises of Allah. Alhamdulillahi alladhi ahyana ba'dama matana wa ilayhi nushur. Alhamdulillah alladhi saqani 'adban furatan bi rahmatihi. Alhamdulillah alladhi at'amana saqana. Alhamdulillah alladhi aqalana yawmana hadha. Everywhere we'll see constant reminder of gratefulness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In a hadith it comes out of the dua, Alhamdulillah. The best of the dua is Alhamdulillah. We should make this a point in our life. Constantly we thank Allah. We remind ourselves, we think about it, we tell our children, especially our children, since they're at a small age, we should make this a habit that they're thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if they complain about anything, I don't like this, we should remind them, don't say this. Because there are many things Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us. And if you're ungrateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah can take it away. And remind them about how many things we have. And sometimes show them that there are people who don't have these things. Tell them about it. Talk to them about it. Show them. So that they also realize, since they're young, that we cannot be complaining. We have to be thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That all this what we have is not because of our own effort. Allah can take it away. A person can say, because I'm working, that's why I'm making money. Allah can take away my health. Then what? Allah can take away my eyes, then what would I see? Allah can take away my hearing, then what would I hear? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can take these things away. So we have to be reminding ourselves again and again, especially like I said, our kids, sometimes we let things go, right? They throw a tantrum, we let it go. No, we don't let it go. We make sure that they understand, since they're kids, that be grateful. If you're going to be ungrateful and complain, fine, you're not getting anything. Yes, initially they won't like it. Yes, initially they will maybe be very loud, but wallahi, when we keep feeding it, it gets worse. A lot of times in the beginning, we undermine these things. A kid is being ungrateful, we let it go. We don't make a big deal about it. Especially sometimes as parents, natural feelings, we get soft And we then, after the kid is crying a little bit, we get soft and we grab the kid and hug the kid. Now the kid knows that's all I need to do, throw a tantrum, and everything will be given to me. No, you are ungrateful, you are not being obedient, you want to sit in the corner and cry, that's fine with me. Initially it'll be hard, right? And like I said, if things have gone out of hand, you will have to go slowly now. But you have to fix it right now. If we do not fix it, then parents complain when kids get older. Oh, please, Maulvi Saab, or please, Hafiz Saab, can you make dua for my son? Can you please take him in Jamaat? Can you please talk to him? The hawla. I mean, when the child was in your hands for 10 years, 12 years, you did not make sure that you teach him properly. Now things have gone out of hand. You want the Imam Sahib or the Mawlana Sahib or the Hafiz Sahib to come and do some miracle. It doesn't work like this. You have fed the wrong for so many years. Only Allah can take it out in one day, but the truth of the matter is it will not come out in one day. So when kids are young, yes, they're just kids, but wallahi, that's what's gonna become their nature. You have to take steps from day one. And hitting is not gonna do it. Screaming is not gonna do it. Remember that. Hitting and screaming is only going to make them like that. If they see that I do something wrong, and to fix something wrong, you have to scream or hit, they will do the same thing. That's exactly what they will do. So screaming and hitting is not going to do anything. We have to do what? The most and the best thing is, and the most beloved thing to a child is their playtime. Give them time out. Like I said, initially, if things have gone out of hand, of course, take someone's help because you don't want a big mess in the house. But if it's things that are still in your control, then you tell the child, go sit in the corner and time out. That's it. A time will come, the child will say sorry with tawazu. Initially, it will be attitude. But when the child sees that it's not working, first time I realize, second, a point will come, the child will realize that it's not going to work unless I humble myself. The child will become humble. And then you won't have to punish that child like that. You just have to tell him that, listen, you shouldn't be doing it, or else you're going to time out, and this will be sufficient. So it's very important that we thank Allah and we teach our children since they're kids, since they're young. They have toys. Oh, I don't like this toy. Okay, no toys for you. No problem. There are people who don't have it, we'll give it to them. Oh, I don't like this food. Oh yeah, okay, no problem. No food. There are people who don't have food. Again, I'm not saying don't let them play at all or don't give them food. Astaghfirullah. No. What I'm saying is within balance. And if you don't know how to balance this, take someone's help. Go to mashayikh, go to scholars or even people who are doctors, right? People who would know, who would have this knowledge, who can deal with children. People who would understand children's mentality. You go talk to them. Take their help, that's fine, right? But don't overdo it either. That's also we hear children or parents sometimes they want to teach their children a lesson, they're not giving them food at all. The kid is not eating dinner. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. That's not right either. He's a kid. You can't. We have to do things in a moderate way. But definitely screaming and hitting is not going to do it. It's only going to make the kid like that. So please, we make sure that we ourselves are grateful to Allah, and we teach our children to be grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah's promise is Allah will increase in the blessing. So going back to the hadith where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says Allah will remember us, and in the end, something we will receive that all of us needed. And if once we get that, all of us will become the awliya of Allah. Awliya of Allah subhanahu. Look at this. This action is small action, looks like small, but it will make you a wali of Allah. What is that? Allah says in the end of the gathering, قُومُ مَغْفُرًا لَكَ. You are forgiven. Not only that, your sins have been turned into good deeds. What does that mean? We have no evil deeds left in our book of deeds. What does that mean? Everyone who goes to sit down, remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, every person who gets up from that gathering is a wali of Allah. SubhanAllah. So this action is great. So we thank Allah for allowing us to be a part of such a blessed gathering, or such a blessed moment where we're sitting down and thanking and sitting and remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, as we know, we start off with the ways of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and we are discussing the Hadith al-Qudsi where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions about Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam different attributes. So the next thing is that truthfulness, sidq, wal wafa, and sincerity to fulfill the promises. Tabi'atahu is his nature, sallallahu alaihi wasallam's nature. To be truthful, to be honest. And this is very important. It comes in the hadith, truthfulness leads to salvation, and lying leads towards destruction. A person says the truth so many times to so and so that in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he becomes siddiq, a truthful man. And a person lies and lies and lies to that extent he's written as a liar. When a person lies, the smell, the foul smell that comes out of his mouth makes the angels run away. We don't see it, we don't smell it, of course. This is something in the other realm, right? The inner world, you can say, a different world. The world of the angels that we do not see. A foul smell comes out, and it will make the angels run away. That's how evil is. La'natullahi al-kadhibin. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Allah's la'na means to be far from the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whenever we see the word la'na, right, in Arabic and Quran and Hadith, it's not like the la'nat in Urdu, right? In Urdu they use the word la'nat also. That's a little bit different. Here la'na means somebody who's far from the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Anyone who's far from the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what does that mean? There is no forgiveness for that person. So lying is very serious. Lying is not something that's to be taken lightly. And again, that's something we have to learn not to lie and teach our children not to lie, right? Remember one thing, sometimes our kids, they lie because they're scared of something. Identify why did the child lie. Like let's just say, you ask your child, did you do this? He said yes. And then you found out he did it. Don't go storming at that child. Wallahi, find out there was a reason. And a lot of times, the reason was because the way parents react. The severe punishment that comes with it, they're scared. Because of that fear, I'm not saying it's right for them to lie, of course not. What I'm saying is we were the reason. Now we're storming at them, again, it's not helping. It's gonna make him lie more. So identify the reason and rectify it, and then explain to him that beta, lying is not good. Lying displeases Allah. If you keep lying, people won't trust you because you'll be considered as a person who's not honest, who's not truthful. So explain him nicely and politely and rectify your mistakes. Yes, sometimes they're lying because they're doing something wrong and they know they're not supposed to. That's different. What I'm saying is identify the reason also. Sometimes reason is us, and sometimes it's just them being them. So if they're being like that, always start off rectification of children in a positive way. If that's not working, slowly build up. So you can tell the child that I was nice. I told you once, you did it again. I still didn't say anything. You did it again. I was still being nice to you, and I told you, beta, don't do it again. Then, oh my child, do not do it again. If you do it again, this will be the consequences. But you did not listen. So now the consequences is you have to go in time out, no playtime or whatever. Half an hour is gone. Less time to play, etc. So build it up so that the child does not build the habit of lying, and reward him when he's honest. Let's say he did something wrong. He comes to you and says, I did it. He didn't lie. Reward him. Yes, he did wrong, but reward him for being honest. That will teach him to be truthful. Like I said, it's very important that we build up good habits since we are young. If we are kids and we're building good habits amongst our children, they will grow up as good Muslims. But if we are not doing that, then they will grow up having evil habits, and then the cycle will continue. And if we want to fix, or if we want to rectify our children, I have to rectify myself, right? I can't lie and expect my son not to lie. I can't lie in front of him and telling him, hey, someone's on the door, tell them I'm not home. Or pick up my phone and be like, oh, I forgot my phone at home. Don't expect my son to be truthful after that. I have to be honest in order for my son to become an honest person, right? Just like there was a story that some people came to a person's house and they knocked on the door. The father told the son that, listen, open the door, tell them I'm not home. So he went to open the door and he told them that my father said to tell you that he's not home. So, I mean, sometimes kids are innocent and they might do something like this too. Anyhow, to teach them to lie, it's not the right thing. So we have to be honest, right? Like I said, salvation of akhirah is in being truthful. And if we lie in a'udhu billah, then the la'nat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala descends upon the person who lies. وَالْعَفْوَ وَالْمَعْرُوفَ خُلُقَهُ. This is to forgiveness and doing good deeds. Is his part of is his character. Forgive. Now there's a lot of benefits of forgiveness. I'm sure we all know them. But one thing, ulama, they say beautifully, and they give it in a form of story. Actually, it happened with one person, and from after this we'll go into Sirah. That one pious man was sitting, and the servant came and dropped something. So the servant right away started saying, "Please forgive me, please forgive me." So this pious man said, "How many times do you want me to forgive you? You keep doing this, right? How many times do you want me to forgive you?" So there's another pious man sitting next to him, and he said, "As many times you want Allah to forgive you. As many times you want Allah to forgive you." So if you want Allah to forgive us for the countless sins I commit, I should forgive others for the countless mistakes they do. Just like I have power over taking revenge or taking out my anger on someone, similarly Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has the power as well. If I want Allah to forgive me, then I should forgive others and make this a part of our life, make a golden rule. I will forgive everyone. End of story. I'll forgive. Clean heart all the time. Person whose heart is clean from others, he is guaranteed paradise. Inshallah, now we'll continue to Sirah. We have been reading the story of Mi'raj, the Ascension, and we are doing the different parts where Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is going and seeing different groups. And we talk about how to stay away from that sin because Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is seeing them in punishment. So we're talking about how can we stay away from them, because the purpose of learning anything is to make amal on it, right? The purpose of learning is not for the sake of learning and I know it and go home and that's it, or I tell people I know this much. No, it's for me to get near Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that's why we're going extremely slow. But again, the purpose is to amal and not just the words. So inshallah today there's two different groups, but they have one thing in common. So I'll read both of the groups' punishment and then we'll talk about them inshallah. So then it says Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam passed by those people whose tongues and lips were being cut with iron scissors, you can say. After being cut, it would return to its original form, and this process continued. Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam asked, Ya Jibreel alayhi salam, what is this? He replied, they are speakers and lecturers who lead others astray, right? Who lead others astray. Then he passed by a small rock from which a huge ox was born, right? An ox is coming out of a rock, imagine, which is, right, zahiran impossible, but it's happening. Then the ox tries to go back into the rock. So there's an ox coming out of the rock. Now this ox wants to go back to the inside the rock, but it is unable to do so. Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam asked, what is this? Jibreel Alayhi Salam replied, this is a position of a person who utters something grave and in consequences becomes embarrassed. He is, however, unable to retract his words. So in both hadiths, the one thing in common is usage of the tongue, right? Speakers and lecturers are giving bayanat or giving talks, but leading people astray. And you have this where a person says something and regrets, but he cannot take his words back. So in short, this is talking about the one aspect in common. There's many points here, but you can say one aspect which is common is the usage of the tongue. Now the tongue, ulama, they say, is like a knife, right? Or a scissor or anything useful that can be used to harm someone else too. For example, I can use my knife to cut my fruits and vegetables and cook food, and I can use that knife to harm someone, na'udhu billah min dhalik. So just like that, a tongue can be used to harm someone, it can be used to please someone, right? This tongue is such that it is said in a poem, in an Arabic poem, that the wound of the sword will heal, but the wound caused by the tongue will not heal, right? So the usage of the tongue is extremely important. Amlik alayka lisanak, Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said to near effect, control your tongue. One of the reasons why people will go to Jahannam is because of usage of the tongue. وَكُنَّا نَخُوضُ مَعَ الْخَائِضِينَ, right? Because of people would indulge in useless talks, right? مَا يَلْفِظُ مِنْ قَوْلٍ إِلَّا لَدَيْهِ رَقِيبٌ عَتِيدٌ. There's a group of angels that are sitting and they're noting down every single thing that we say, we do, right? Here, and this says مَا يَلْفِظُ مِنْ قَوْلٍ, right? Every word we utter. Every word we utter, there is someone who's noting it down. Because of this tongue, many people will go to Jahannam because the amount of sins that can be committed. Right? Imagine Abu Siddiq radiallahu anh, whose status is, subhanallah, such that he is the best after the Anbiya alayhimus salam. He is such that all doors of Jannah will be calling for him. He is such that when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will see him, Allah's anger on the day Jannah will cool down. Right? Abu Siddiq radiallahu anh, this is the most beloved to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Right? He is saying, holding on to his tongue, that this has led me into many problems. Subhanallah. Abu Siddiq radiallahu anh, who we would not imagine do something or say something that would make him regret. But he's saying, holding on to his tongue, that this is the one that has caused me and led me to many problems. Imagine us, imagine our condition. Somebody like Abu Siddiq is scared. Rasul saying, Amsik alayka lisanak. Control your tongue, hold on to your tongue. And we know, ulama have written, there are many good deeds that can be done with the tongue, and there are many evils can come out of the tongue. For example, the harms from this tongue, a person does backbiting. Backbiting is done through this tongue. And the sin of the backbiting, we all know, it's like eating the meat of your brother. A person who does backbiting, his sins will be taken, his good deeds will be taken every day judgment. Lying, which we talked about in the previous book, is done with the tongue. Making fun of someone is done with the tongue. Calling names is done with the tongue. This tongue leads towards fights, right? A person gets angry, says something, leads towards fights, right? There was a story I heard that in the previous days, or even now, some places have these horse carriages, right, where people ride and and they go on the horses on the carriage, and the driver is there, and then he charges you money for that. So there was one day one person sat, and you can say the price for that had gone up, just $1 more. $1 more had gone up. Over there 1 rupee, but here $1. So the person started arguing with the driver. That, oh, what is this? I did just went yesterday, and that person only took $2 and taking $3, and they started fighting. They started fighting and arguing, that led to one of them taking out a knife and stabbing the other and killed the other person on spot. Think about it. For $1, they were arguing, but because of the words they use, of course, that's what happens, right? A person says something, it ignites a fire on the other person, and it leads towards wars. So he stabbed him, killed him, and the person who was a murderer got hanged also. So they both died because of argument on $1. Why? Because they couldn't control their tongue. One person could have stayed quiet. It would not have led towards anything wrong. Like one person came and he was saying that, oh, why are you saying, he was basically asking the sheikh something to the near effect where about, it's not a big deal, what I say, it's not a big deal. Why do you make a big deal about how I talk or what I say? So what he did was, or actually no, his question was, how come you say that a good environment has positive effect and an evil environment has a evil effect? A good environment has a good effect and evil environment has an evil effect. How do you say that? So this scholar, what he did was he used a bad word. He said something to him, you're a fool or whatever it may be. So this person got so angry, right? He got so angry. He got really mad. I said, what kind of scholar are you? And you're using words like this and this and that. So the scholar said, I made one statement and look at you. You got so angry. I just made a statement and you're so angry. It is boiling you up. So what do you expect about the environment? Why wouldn't a good environment have an effect? Right? So the statements we make would affect someone. And we all know that, right? There was a child, the mother told him to go buy some yogurt drink. So before, in some villages, a woman would make yogurt drinks, people would come buy from her. So she was one-eyed. She was one-eyed woman. So the child goes and he looks at her and says, oh, one-eyed auntie, give me some yogurt drink. So she got so angry, she beat him up and told him, you would never ever, you will get any yogurt drink. So he just made a statement. And the statement was one-eyed woman. Of course, it was wrong for him to say that, but that statement led towards the woman getting so angry that she said, "You will never get any drink from me again." So just, we all know that it might be just a word, but it can do severe damage. So it is necessary that we control our tongues. Now, one thing, inshallah, about these speakers and lecturers who led others astray. So how do we know who should we listen to? That's always a question. And how can we control our tongue? And we will end with that. So the ulama have written signs of scholars that you can trust, that you can rely on. Number one, and all these are from Quran and Sunnah, of course. I mean, there's not much time to go into each, but definitely I'm sure we all understand that they make sense. Number one is that person has deen in his life. He's not a person who doesn't follow deen. He has deen in his life. He follows Sunnah Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He is a person who has knowledge and is being certified from authorities, not just sat down and just said, "Oh, I have knowledge." Just like any other field, we will make sure they're certified and authentic. Similarly, we want to make sure they're certified and authentic from reliable scholars. When we sit with them, it gets us closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So look at the people who are with him. Are they getting closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or they're just with him? So if they are with him and there's no change in life, then it's problematic, right? So is his followers, the people with him, is their life changing or not? When we sit with them, do we get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Does it change our life or not? Or is just we sit and we like the bayan and we leave? Is it changing anything? Is it bringing a change in our life or not? They don't want any name. They don't want any money from us, right? They don't desire anything from people. They don't wish from anything from people, right? They're doing the work of deen because they're doing it. What do the ulama of that time say about him? What are ulama saying? Do ulama rely on him? Do ulama trust him or not? Do ulama have a good say about him or not? So if you find these few qualities in a person, then they say you can rely on that scholar and you should hold on to him and trust his words and follow his advice. But if that's not the case, if there is something missing, if there is anything not right, then of course we find the true scholars, the right scholars, and we stick with them. In regards to controlling the tongue, so ulama, they have said, of course, there's few ways. Number one is think before we speak. Number two, stay quiet. Don't talk about anyone. That's it. Don't talk about anyone at all. Not good, not bad. Because when we start talking, we start saying good things and then we start doing ghibah. So don't talk about anyone else when they're not present. Don't make jokes. When you make jokes, that you always want to make jokes, and then it leads towards lying or hurting someone's feeling. Always call people with the name they have. Don't give nicknames, regardless. Sometimes we do nicknames to someone out of love, but then we think I'm going to give a nickname to another person, but my intention is good, but that person might not like it. So don't give nicknames. Call people with their names, what they have. Think before you speak, how would you feel if someone said that to you? Right? If I'm saying something to someone and it would hurt my feeling, then it would hurt the other person's feeling also. And if I have done something wrong with my tongue, do some punishment to yourself, means nafil, sadaqah, of course, ask for forgiveness. All those things are there, but nafil and sadaqah, especially sadaqah, right? The nafs would know that I'm gonna lose money, or I have to sit down and do dhikr, then inshallah it will be helpful to control. And always meditate that Allah is watching me. Have this conscience that Allah is watching me, and the best way to do that is do dhikr of Allah. If you're sitting idle, do dhikr of Allah. We're working, not talking to anyone, do dhikr of Allah. Yes, when I'm speaking to someone, we speak. When I'm not, I'm just sitting, do dhikr of Allah. Make a habit of dhikr of Allah, because when we're doing the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala constantly, then inshallah will save us from idle talks, it will save us from being unmindful of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and being mindful of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will help us at the end to not say anything that would make us regret on the day of judgment. Wallahu alam, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq to act upon what's been said, what's been heard. Shall we make dua? Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ali Sayyidina Muhammad wa barik wa sallim. Ya awwal awwalin, ya akhir akhirin, ya dhal quwwati al-matin, ya rahim al-masakin, ya hayy ya qayyum, rahmatika nastaghis, aslih lana sha'nana kullah, wa la takilna ila anfusina tarfata 'ain. ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إنا كنا من الظالمين Ya Allah, forgive our sins. Ya Allah, forgive the sins we did knowingly, unknowingly. Ya Allah, remove this calamity. Ya Allah, remove this calamity. Ya Allah, remove this calamity. Ya Allah, you guide us. Ya Allah, give us the tawfiq, the guidance to leave all sins. Ya Allah, give us the guidance to control our tongues. Ya Allah, Ya Allah, Ya Allah, save us from the punishment of this dunya and save us from the punishment of the grave. Save us from the punishment of akhirah. Ya Allah, be pleased with us. Ya Allah, give us the guidance to follow the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Ya Allah, give us a guidance to act upon what we have learned and give us the guidance to convey it to others. Ya Allah, you allow us to live our life in the way you are pleased with us. Ya Allah, give us life on Iman, give us death on Iman. Ya Allah, give us the best in this world and give us the best in the hereafter. Ya Allah, people who are sick, give them shifa. People who have died with Iman, Ya Allah, forgive them. Ya Allah, people who have any sort of need, Ya Allah, you fulfill their needs. Ya Allah, you help them from ghaib, Ya Allah, from your unseen treasures. Ya Allah, allow us to live our life in accordance to your commandments and the ways of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam only. Ya Allah, protect our children, protect our generations. Ya Allah, you guide them, you help them. Ya Allah, Ya Allah, this whoever has died from this calamity, Ya Allah, and with Iman, Ya Allah, forgive them. And whoever are sick, Ya Allah, give them shifa kamla ajila. Ya Allah, we do not know how to ask, you know how to give. Give us from your treasures what is best for us in this dunya and akhirah. Allahumma inna nas'aluka min khayri ma sa'alaka minhu nabiyyuka Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam wa na'udhuka min shay'in musta'ada minhu nabiyyuka Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam wa anta al-musta'an wa alayka al-balagh wa la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati ma yasifun wa salamun ala al-mursaleen. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Rahmatuka ya arhamar rahimin.